The Montreal Canadiens have made an interesting signing. The Utah Mammoth have matched an offer sheet. And Connor Bedard is out for a while. We've got a bunch of news and notes to dive into in regards to the NHL. Let's start things out with this morning's Montreal Canadiens signing, as Reilly Walsh is your newest one-year, two-way contract player by Montreal. Now, this is really interesting because Walsh is a guy that used to be somewhat of a top prospect, if you wanted to use that label. 81st overall pick back in 2017, and a guy who inevitably displayed some really good value in Harvard. He was a New Jersey Devils draft pick back in the day, and then spent 3 seasons with the Harvard University Crimson, becoming a point-per-game, almost, defenseman. 6 feet, 185, a right-handed dude, so obviously right-handed D are heavily valued in the National Hockey League. He was really good with the Crimson and ended up getting 1 game with the New Jersey Devils in 2021-2022. Unfortunately, though, Walsh just could not break out onto the team. He had spent all these years with Binghamton, Utica, Providence, Ontario, and just couldn't find his way to making NHL success happen. So, he yeeted off to the KHL, played a season with Barrett Astana in Kazakhstan, had 46 points in 68 games, and now he's back in North America. The Montreal Canadiens signed Reilly Walsh to a 1-year, 2-way contract, and there's a lot of image to take hold here for Walsh and his career if he is trying to actually carve out National Hockey League playing time for himself. Sure, you can say this is mostly just another AHL player, but there are some things that you can highlight that stand out for Walsh and his career. He had spent his previous season in the KHL, he performed well offensively. That's not dissimilar to how Walsh typically performed in the American Hockey League. An alumnus of Harvard, Walsh's brief pro career was defined by above-average scoring ability with subpar respect to the defensive side of the puck. In his most recent AHL season with the Ontario Reign, Walsh scored 6 goals and 32 points in 70 games. The previous year, he had 9 goals and 28 points in 60 games with Providence. Despite being currently positioned as the oldest player on the Laval Rockets D-Corps, it's unlikely that Walsh will factor into Montreal's 26-27 campaign. Although he will give the Rockets some offensive punch on the blue line, Montreal will likely rely on youngsters like David Reinbacher or Adam Engstrom should they need an injury replacement at any point throughout the season. So, Reilly Walsh, we'll see whether or not he actually has more to give for the Montreal Canadiens. Sticking around with some younger players, let's shift our conversation over to Barrett Hayton of the Utah Mammoth, and officially of the Utah Mammoth, because the Mammoth announced today that they have signed forward Barrett Hayton to a 1-year contract, matching the offer sheet that was tendered to him by the New Jersey Devils. Take a look at the Elliot Friedman report. Hayton now has a 1-year, $4.775 million contract and cannot be traded until next July, after he is scheduled to become a UFA. Any player signed to a 1-year deal is eligible to extend after January 1st, though. So, hey, Utah, y'all already know what to do. This seems to be what New Jersey set you up for. They want to walk this guy right to free agency. You backed out of a trade with the Devils sending Barrett Hayton over there. They got pissed. They signed him to an offer sheet. Now, you got to do your darndest to make sure you re-sign Barrett Hayton by the time January 1st rolls around to avoid this whole conundrum next year. Barrett Hayton, 6'1", 201. We already spoke about this in the Barrett Hayton offer sheet video, but he had 2 seasons of 40-plus points in the National Hockey League before dipping to 25 points in 67 games this most recent season. Not great, but definitely somebody that you can see more out of, and that you would expect to see more out of, too. He's still 26 years old, so there is time, for Barrett Hayton to get back on track. Sure, maybe he was kind of a weird pick at 5th overall back in 2018. I'll still stand by that. That was one of the stranger draft seasons that we ended up seeing. But Barrett Hayton is going to be sticking around in Utah. Take a look at the replies over here. Not a fan. He has consistently underperformed against expectations. Interesting. I'm not sure it was the right move, but time will tell. I really like Hayton, and I'm glad to keep him around, but that's too pricey. It's 1 year, right? 4.775 with all the money getting handed out to players nowadays. That money doesn't seem too unreasonable, considering it seems to be the going rate for middle to, I guess, bottom 6 caliber guys. It depends on who you ask, really. There are other players making similar dollar amounts that quite equally are not as effective as Barrett Hayton seems to be. I mean, half a point a game guy, that's not really the best, but 4.7 mil. Pricey, yes, but it's a new market after all. Speaking about markets and speaking about guys that need contracts, let's shift our conversation over to Connor Bedard out of the Chicago Blackhawks, a guy who still needs a contract for next season and who is an RFA. Are the Chicago Blackhawks going to pucker up and just let Connor Bedard take it? He'll get himself $20+ million a year, or are they going to hardball this guy $14-15 million a year? I say hardball. That doesn't seem like that low of an amount anyways, but still, there are scales to this, right? Anyways, the Connor Bedard update we've got today is not related to his contract, it's related to his injury. Chicago tweeted this out earlier this afternoon. Earlier, Connor Bedard underwent successful surgery to repair his left shoulder. We expect him to make a full recovery in an approximate timeline of 4 months. So, just calculate it out. July 8th right now. August, September, October, November. Oh my goodness, Connor Bedard is going to be out till November? And that's an approximate timeline? Oh boy. Knowing National Hockey League injuries, either he'll pull off a miracle and come back earlier at the start of the year, or he will extend. Maybe not 4 months, maybe it's 5.5. Maybe Connor Bedard is not playing until December. Ay, 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 what devastating news. Demko's knee bones went out there and asked, would you rather have Bedard's left shoulder or Jack Hughes' right shoulder? I don't even know the right answer here. 0 votes, so we're not going to touch that. Second shoulder injury in less than a year. That is concerning. Both were also not super huge hits or dangerous situations. Guy just falls and breaks like an egg. That's kind of rude, but still. Ay, ay, ay. Blackhawks fans watching their 2026 offseason, good thing Kyle Davidson went and got some forward help in the offseason. Oh wait, we're going to suck again. Who's the one that made him fall into the boards? No, there was nobody. He just kind of fell. He just took a spill in the corner of the arena there. Definitely a freak accident, and one that now, seeing this outcome, obviously is not ideal for anybody involved. So with all that said, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the Montreal Canadiens signing Reilly Walsh? What are your thoughts on Utah matching the New Jersey Devils offer sheet for Barrett Hayton? And what are your thoughts on the Connor Bedard injury? It's all here in this video. Let me know in the comment section your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.